What's going on, y'all? Marquise here with MH Capital, and in this video, I want to talk about trading versus a 9-to-5 job and what it takes to psychologically make the shift. Some background information on myself: I've been trading for a little over a year now, and while doing that, I was also working full-time in my own business. So I have some experience when it comes to trading versus a 9-to-5 job and just the psychological shift that needs to take place. So let's jump right into it. I want to start by talking about the differences between a 9-to-5 job and trading. So with a full-time job, the first thing that you get is stability. You show up and you do the work and you get paid for it. Essentially, with a full-time job, you're trading your time for money. Also, with a full-time job, you have set hours or routine where you're expected at work at a certain time and you're typically working from a 9 to 5, or you just have your hours set that you're working for the day, and typically it doesn't change. And then lastly, you have external accountability. You might have a boss or you might have coworkers that are there to make sure you do what you need to do. And if you slack or if you're not meeting deadlines, you have that external accountability to make sure you're doing what you have to do. Trading is essentially the opposite. Instead of stability, there's uncertainty. Your income depends entirely on how you perform in the market. And if you don't perform well, if you're not making money, then you're not going to have income for that day or for that period of time. So it's not guaranteed like a 9-to-5 job is. Also, there's no forced routine. There's no external accountability. You don't have anyone there making sure that you're on the charts at a certain time or that you're doing what you need to do. It's completely self-reliant and self-enforced. You have to be the one that makes sure you're where you need to be and you're doing what you need to do. And in order to be successful with trading, you have to develop the right mindset. And by that, I mean you have to accept that you're paid for your decisions in trading, not necessarily the time that you spend on the charts, because you could spend all day on the charts and not make any money. You can spend all day on the charts and actually lose money. But if you're there and you make the right decisions, then you don't have to be on the charts all day. In fact, there was times during my trading sessions last year where, so I trade for a couple hours a day. But there were times where, like, if I found my setup within 30 minutes of being on the chart, I take my setup, and if I win, then I'm done for the day. I don't have to continue trading. And I remember there was one time I was talking to a friend, and he asked me, what I was up to and stuff like that. And he's like, "Hey, well, how's trading going for the day?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm done for the day." And I think it was before 9 a.m. And he's like, it's only 9 a.m. And I'm like, yeah, it's different from a 9-to-5 job where I don't need to be there for X amount of hours of the day. It's like once I find my setup and I take it, I'm paid for my decisions, not necessarily for the time that I'm spending on the charts. The next thing is to accept the risk and embrace uncertainty. So as I mentioned earlier, you're not guaranteed to make money every time you step on the charts, or like you would be with a 9-to-5 job, but you have to accept the risk. First off, that you're risking capital every single time that you get on the charts, and that there's uncertainty there. You might not make money that day. It might be a break-even day, and you have to learn to accept that and accept that there will be losses. And as long as you manage your risk, you can continue to trade another day. Next is accepting that losses are part of the game. So like I mentioned before, you're not going to win every single trade, and you have to accept that there will be days where you take a loss, and you have to accept that. For me personally, this is something that I really had to work on, and I continue to work on. So there were times where I would take a loss and I wouldn't accept it, and I would continue to trade or revenge trade to get that money back. But once it clicked in my head that there's times where you're going to take a loss, there's days where you're going to take a loss, and you have to accept it, and you come back better the next day, you're just going to be a better trader overall. So accept the loss, accept that they happen, that they're going to happen, and it's all about how you manage it. So as long as you have the right risk percentage on your trade, if you lose it, then you're not going to demolish your account, and you can live to trade another day. It's all about living to trade another day. You really want to stay in the game. So you have to accept that losses are part of the game. And then also master your emotions. Emotions like fear and greed can sabotage your trades. So speaking from experience again, earlier this week, actually on Monday, I took a trade that was actually a winning trade. Like price actually hit my TP, but I didn't close out the trade like I should have, and I actually wanted a little bit more. I was being greedy, and unfortunately price reversed, and I ended up getting out of the trade at my entry point. So it was a break-even trade when it should have been a profitable trade. So you really have to manage your emotions, and there's times where emotions like fear and greed, they step in. So manage those emotions, that way you can see long-term profitability. Lastly, I want to talk about some actionable steps that you can take to help transition from your full-time job to trading. The first thing is build a financial cushion. So you want to save at least 6 to 12 months of living expenses, and this will reduce the pressure of needing to perform in the market. So if you have days or weeks that may be either unprofitable or break even, it's not going to stress you out too much because you have that cushion there. Next is prove that you can be consistent in the market before quitting your job. So just as it sounds, you want to make sure that you're able to consistently take money from the market. You want to be consistently profitable before you prepare to leave your job. And lastly, create a routine or trading plan. So since you're replacing the structure of a 9-to-5 job with trading, you really want to have a trading plan where you're on the charts for a certain time during the day, and you're just there doing what you need to do. You have the discipline set that I show up during this time, I'm done during this time, and just having that routine will really help you build success in the market. So you really want to plan your transition carefully, and this will help set you up for long-term success. I hope you got some value from this video. If so, feel free to leave a like or a comment down below, and I look forward to talking to you guys in the next one.